Hello everybody and welcome back to Gav's Kitchen. Today I'm actually going to share with you a rather exciting recipe. This is my own little take on KFC really, but I'm not going to do a southern fried chicken on this occasion, but I'll explain why in a moment. What you need for this one, you need, for the purposes of what I'm going to be using these for, I'm actually going to slice up this fried chicken and put it in a salad because as I've said before, lots of people are trying to be sort of health conscious under the lockdown and not eat junk food. So I'm going to put some sort of junk food into a nice salad. Here I've got 2 chicken tits, and I would say just to cut those into 3. The reason I do that is because it is a lot easier to coat them when they're smaller. So I've cut the 2 chicken tits into 6 there. Inside here I've got some self-raising flour, but you can just use normal flour if you want to. Self-raising really doesn't make a difference. I've got lots of spices here and some herbs, and also I've got 2 eggs which I've beaten in this bowl here. I have added to mine, but you can use any spices you want. For southern fried, you're probably going to want things like ground turmeric and garlic and cayenne pepper, that sort of thing. For mine, I've got here some paprika, some oregano, some onion salt, some garlic granules here, and I've got some mild chili powder for mine because I do want a little bit of spice. Believe it or not, I've actually mixed that up into the flour here already. And what you do now is very, very simple. You take a piece of your chicken and you what I like to do actually is dip that into the flour first. Some people disagree with that. They say put some egg on it first of all, and what other people have done is actually soaked the chicken in yogurt first, but I thought sod that. So I'm just going to dip it into the flour here, then I'm going to dip it into the egg like so. Make sure I get plenty of egg on there, and then I am going to then dip it back into the flour again until the actual chicken piece is fully coated. So roll it around a little bit, and then so that you get a decent crust on there if you want, or you can have a thinner one, I'm going to dip it in the egg again, once again. Now this gets bloody messy for your fingers as well, and then dip it back in the flour again after that. Once you've done each one, place them onto a plate so you don't get your kitchen counter all dirty. And then what you're going to need to do with the piece of chicken after that is actually shallow fry them. Now I'm going to actually fry them very, very shallowly, and I'm actually going to, there you go, I'm going to fry them in a normal frying pan. I'm going to do each side separately. I'm not going to cover the whole thing in oil. And what I've got in here is some tomato oil, or sun-dried tomato oil. I love antipasti and I buy them from Lidl all the time. Sun-dried tomatoes come in their own oil. I haven't bought oil for years. I save the oil. I keep it in my little oil bottle here from the sun-dried tomatoes, and it's really good for frying, and you get that really nice sun-dried tomato taste with it. So I'm going to wait for this to heat up, and then I'm going to fry the chicken and show you what to do after that. Okay, so that frying pan's nice and hot. I've put that on, excuse the mess, we've been doing a lot of cooking today. I've put these on 5, which is quite a high heat. You might want to go between 4 and 5 if you've got an electric cooker. And you're going to want these quite powdery. You don't want them too sticky. And basically what I'm going to do is just drop them directly on to the hot pan there, and you're going to want to leave those frying for a bit and use some tongs just to turn them over, because they'll go really nice and golden brown on the bottom. You can see actually already they're starting to go a bit golden around the edges. Ow! Balls! That hurt. And that one's actually a bit sticky, so I've done there what I told you not to do. But that should come out quite nicely still. So leave those to fry for a couple of minutes on either side, and then use some tongs to turn them over. And make sure they're nice and golden brown on both sides before you move on to the next step. Oh my God, they smell so good already. This is the leftover egg that I used to coat the chicken. And believe it or not, if you pop that in the microwave for about 2 minutes, you'll get a really nice little omelette in the bottom of there. Okay, so I was doing some other bits and bobs in the kitchen, and I've actually left these for a little bit longer than I should have done. And they've got a tiny bit singed on the top, but this is actually nowhere near as bad as it looks, I promise. So make sure you're very, very careful. You keep checking, which I haven't done, and just cook them on each side for about 5 minutes. Once they're golden brown, not black, on each side, what you're going to need to do then is put them in the oven on a low heat, a very low heat, probably about 100 degrees for about half an hour. Keep checking them, and the reason you do this is to make sure that the chicken is fully cooked inside. That is very, very important, because you don't want any salmonella or anything like that, particularly with all the other stuff going on. That's the last thing you want. So you really must make sure that they are fully cooked in the centre. And again, you can put a skewer through them and check to see if the skewer is hot. Or if you've got one of those kitchen thermometers, you could do it with that if you want to. But just make sure they're nice and crisp on each side, and then pop them onto a baking tray and pop them into the oven, as I say, for about 30 minutes on a pretty low heat. Okay, so like I say, these are a bit singed, but that is a lot better than it looks, I promise you. Okay, then just pop those into the oven then. And I've got it on 100 here, between 100 and 150, and just leave those in there for perhaps half an hour, just to make sure that the centre of the chicken is cooked. Okay, so these have been in for about half an hour, and I put the heat up to about 150 just to make sure that they were cooked in the centre. Now, as you can see, they're no darker than they were. They're not at all burnt any more than I actually burnt them when I fried them. And if we just pop that in the centre there, yep, that's nice and hot, so we can see that those are actually cooked. So we'll grab our piece of chicken there, pop it here, and we're going to slice that. Look at that. Yummer, flaky. And then I'm going to pop this onto my salad here. And I'm going to add some fresh padron peppers, which have been oiled and salted and cooked in the air fryer, and some fresh asparagus and onion, which I've done the same too. How nice does that look? Can't wait for that.